Today I'm going to share with you how I came up with the composition of a rather large painting that I'm currently working on. It's 64 inches high by 96 inches wide, so it's an 8-foot painting. So I hope you'll find some really good value in this, and I'm going to walk you through the entire process of how I worked out the composition for this painting. Let's get started. All right, here's the canvas. It's up on my easel, and we're going to work here at my computer screen. I'm going to take you through step by step how I came up with this particular composition. So here in Ogden Valley, beautiful Ogden Valley, we have this mountain called Snowbasin. It's got Snowbasin Ski Resort on it, and it's a world-class ski resort. People come from all over to ski here. The 2002 Winter Olympics downhill took place at Snowbasin. So you can see that this first image that I took of it has got it slanting from the left down to the right. So it's not level. I'm going to fix that up. That'll be our first step. All right, here we go. Here's the next picture. All right, now I've cropped it in a little bit on the ends and I've leveled it up. So this foreground, all being snow and this nice smooth field, is not going to be what we have in the end. I'm going to completely replace the foreground. We're going to have some much more interesting elements up front. Now the first step is I took this picture about a mile from where I took the picture of the mountain. This is a nice little red barn. It's got a nice horse with its winter coat on it. There's some nice fencing, and there's this bush in the bottom left corner. However, this photograph here, if I took this foreground and put it in front of the mountain that I photographed in the previous picture, it's not wide enough to go for the full span of the mountain. So it's just not going to work the way I've got it here. So what I am going to do is edit this. I'm going to split this front area into two and shift the bottom left to the left and the barn and the horse off to the right. So let's show you what that looks like. All right, here's what we've got, where we've separated the barn and the horse and some of the fencing, and that will stay to the right-hand side of the painting. And then we'll take the left-hand side, this nice bush and the foreground fence, and shift it off to the left. And here's what it looks like when we pull them back together. So now we have enough foreground to go for the entire span of the painting with the mountain in the background. You can see that this little bridge of kind of an entryway into the pasture back there, which is the type of thing that ranches often have at the gate coming into the lane of their ranch. That is also right here inside this bush, which is where it was in the original photograph, but certainly I won't paint it here. That will be left out. But it's now shifted off to the right, and it looks like, because of all these fence or these branches, that looks now like some sort of grapevine wrapped around it. But that will not be there. It'll just be the boards. We won't have any of this branches or twigs or vine-looking material in the painting on that fence. So you can see that through the center of this area, this fore pasture, I've just deleted that information as I shifted things from right to left. So that'll get fixed up as I work with this image in Photoshop. But altogether, I think that makes a pretty nice composition for the foreground. So now let's switch and see what we get. So here's another barn I anticipate putting very small and in the distance. This barn is called the Huntsville barn. It's right at the entrance to the town of Huntsville. It's a well-known barn, kind of a landmark in this area. It's got that pale green roof and the little painting on the far right side that says Huntsville on it if you looked at it close from that end. However, I need to straighten it up, and I'm going to move it from this particular scene into a different place. So here's what I've done with it. I've just harvested that little barn out of there, and now I can place it wherever I want to in my painting. All right, so now I'd like to have some trees. So these trees are quite typical of this area. I believe these are cottonwood trees. They're growing along the side of the river, as well as these smaller trees and willows and stuff that are down lower. It gives us some variety of color that we can have in our foliage. And also in this scene are these nice horses right over here. You see one's kind of more in profile and the other one's more of a 3/4 angle. And I'm just going to harvest these little horses and put them in our painting, which will be nice. This fence, a very westerny sort of rural type fence, I like it. It's very nice. It's got the uprights catching snow, and yet it's just not what I'm going to work into this particular painting. Even though I like that type of fence, we're not going to use it at this time. So we're going to crop the trees and the horses out of this image. You can see here, one of the horses, I've cropped it out. You can see the warm, sort of fuzzy winter coat that this horse has on its body right now. Now let's take these trees, and what have we done? We've cropped them out of where they were. We've taken our horses, and we're going to crop this group of trees and all of this into our main composition. We'll see that coming right up. Now, in the sky over Snowbasin, this image, taken at a completely different time of the year, but had a really nice sky. I just like these swirls of the wind blowing the clouds right there. It's just got some really nice elements that I like. And I thought it may work well in our painting. Now, clearly, in this image, the sky is much bigger in comparison to the mountain than how much sky we're going to have above the mountain in our painting. So we're not going to be able to use all of this sky, which is fine. We certainly don't need all this kind of clouds up here, but rather we like the dynamics down here. So I'm going to show you what that would look like with these clouds in the composition that we're coming up with. Here we go. So now we have our mountain, we have our barn and our horse and our fencing, and we've shifted our bushes and this part of the fencing over to the left. We've cropped in our expanse of trees there, and these bigger trees, we've put those in, and look at that, we've tucked it in right there. There's that little green roofed barn just way back there. So this is looking good. Got nice tall trees up against those mountains. And later, even though we've had to crop these bushes off here and kind of give them a crew cut, when we get painting this, they will work their little branches up across the foothills of the mountain there. So that'll be nice. But if we get back to this concept of whether or not we like these clouds in our painting, let's consider that. If we have so much cool and snow and winteriness here, do we really want that much more up in the sky? I mean, the blue's nice. These are really lovely shades and variety of shades of blue. But still, let's see what it looks like in the original photograph with this foreground so that we can see what that powerful blue sky looks like. There it is. Now, in some ways, it seems a little lacking not having those wispy clouds. But in another way, that solid blue that we've got here really is a complement and not a complementary color specifically, but it really does help us appreciate the richness of this red barn and the browns that are going to be, the reddish browns that are going to be in this horse's winter coat, and where it might end up having the same sort of tones in the bushes here, or possibly in the trees there, or these trees right back here. And then I like the idea that this blue sky with this red barn will help us feel the pleasure of seeing this scrub oak all across the foothills of this mountain that have their kind of a purplish tone to them, which will be just in a kind of a nice combination of the blue and the red, and will look really nice together. So it's nice also right up across the top of the ridges of the mountain. You can see that there must be some wind up there because the snow is blowing way up into the sky above the top ridge of the mountain. And I'll certainly tuck that in there. Maybe we can put sort of maybe over a little more of an indication of cloud here. There's just some there, but it's not really enough to really call it a cloud. So we might play with that. But for the most part, I want that nice, bold blue sky with that nice, bold red barn. And then have the blues that are going to be in the snow and the purples that are going to be up here. And get some warm, yellowish, golden aspects to parts of the snow where the sun's hitting it. Anyway, it's going to be very pleasant. So that's how I've composed this painting. The various pictures that I took from various angles at different locations, none of them very far from each other. And then the way I cropped and shifted them around to create the composition for the painting that I think is going to be quite lovely in someone's home. So that's how I've composed this canvas. And just one more thing I'm going to share with you in this video is you can see how with this canvas on my easel, it's a nice big easel. It's really tall and as tall as I can get it for the space I'm in. And it's hanging on that easel. It's on the easel, but you can see more of the canvas is off to the right of the easel than what's on the easel. So if gravity had its way, that canvas would fall down on this end and hit the floor. But to avoid that, what I do is I just take and clamp that canvas to one of the uprights of the easel itself, which holds it just nicely. And then when I paint my paintings, I like to paint the outer edge. I just enjoy doing that. And one of the reasons is because, as you can see on this, in the background here, in this painting of the mighty Tonka truck back there, there's a gap between the canvas and the frame. And that allows you to see the edge of the canvas. So it makes sense to have it painted. So that's what I'm working with at the moment. It's going to be fun. I'm going to paint the blue sky first. I need to have it far to the right so that I can get to this edge and get it painted. And then as I get this section of the painting, the sky painted, then I will shift the entire canvas to the left and work my way across until I've got the right end of the canvas painted. And then I will gradually shift the canvas up and paint as I go so that the mountains get painted and then the foothills get painted and then the foreground gets painted and the canvas will be much higher. So anyway, that's how I come up with the composition of the painting that I'm working on. So it ended up looking like this, and I hope that that helps you. I think that it would be terrific if you would subscribe or share this. Hit the notification bell, which I prefer to call the Liberty Bell because it frees you up to have great content come to you without having to go hunt for it. So that's a good thing. And then make comments. If there's anything you can think of that I could do to help you out, I'd be happy to do it. All right. Have a great day. Take care.